West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And
It
each
is
other.
8 a.m. in the Mile High
help us.
City on
bless
this
him. We need all the
Thursday,
help we can
October
get.
16th,
here's-
2025. You're just 2 days away from the National No Kings Rally. Oh, my goodness. So, Vic's live in studio with me. Vic Vela, award-winning journalist, radio personality. Heard him on CPR for many years. Phil Weiser's calling for Coloradans to go down and be a part of No Kings. Take your Saturday in October. Go down and find one of the events. I saw there's some in Parker. There's some in Highlands Ranch. Colorado's putting itself in this position against Donald Trump I just think it's so stupid from my perspective, right? The dude holds the strings when it comes to a lot of federal money. And we're just kind of like, oh, yeah? You hold the strings? Well, I'm going to sue you into oblivion. What is Phil Weiser's now in like his 30th lawsuit? Any fundraiser email I get from Phil's like, another lawsuit, going after Trump again. Take the money away. Oh, you took the money away. I'm going to sue you over that. And it's just such an adversarial position that Colorado's found itself in. Do you think it's wise against a president that's willing to just take it to the mat to show up in droves and go, we really don't like you, and spend your Saturday protesting him? Is this going to help? Is it going to change anything?
Well, the question I have for you, Jeff, is if the shoe were on the other foot. I'm serious. And you had a Democratic president, right, coming down on Alabama, right? You don't think people would be marching in the streets for that? Protest is as old as time,
Sure,
right? And
sure.
it's whether it's effective, I don't know. There's studies that show it moves the needle. It has to be a certain number of millions of people that move the needle. Certainly did a number during Vietnam. And, during Vietnam, people were saying the same thing about people today, right? Oh, they're anarchists. They hate America, things like that. Turns out people who were protesting back then, spoiler alert, were right about Vietnam, by the way. Yeah. But, look, I think for Democrats or for the left or anyone who's really, you don't have to be a Democrat or on the left to take issue with Trump and the current Republican Party. I think it's probably cathartic, is to go out there with among your own brethren. And there's something to be said around rallying around that, because I think we get so caught up in the doom and gloom of the news cycle, no matter which side of the aisle you're on, that can be really negative and really hard. But when you're standing shoulder to shoulder with someone holding a sign on things and issues that you believe in, that can be really powerful. Yeah.
So a few things about these rallies. They differ.
Sure.
The anti-ICE rallies more violent-y. More violent. That's where I got assaulted, was at the anti-ICE rally.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's just ridiculous.
I appreciate that. The Day Without an Immigrant was all white suburban women with a mariachi band. That one I just found hilarious, right? Like if you actually talk to an immigrant, if they're going to take the afternoon off to go down to a protest, no, they're not. They're going to work and provide for their families, which I thought was, so it's only, very wealthy Highlands Ranch moms. Then you go to these No Kings, and I went to two No Kings again. I think this is the third No Kings. This is really important to anybody showing up at a rally, is know what you're protesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I find it hilarious, and it will make for great videos when I go up to you, and I absolutely choose you based on the quality of your sign. Because if your sign is really funny, or you put a lot of time into it, or maybe even offensive, I'm going to go talk to you, okay? You stand out to me. And I make these videos that go totally viral, and I look for the people that have made the signs. But it's important to get to what I call level 2 thinking. So level 1 is no kings, no thrones, no crowns. Okay. I'll come up to you and go, what has Donald Trump done that makes him a king? It's just one question down. Just anything he's done that makes him a king. Please tell me. And when you have no response and no answer, and I actually have video that's a guy who's like, I'm just here because everybody else is here. Mm-hmm. Anything Donald Trump's done that you don't like? No idea. I'm just here because everybody else is here. It's going to make really quality video for me, and it's not going to communicate so well for your side. I also will regularly run into the people that are calling for the death of the president. Can we just say that across the board, conservative, liberal protests, let's not be calling for the death of political opponents. We've seen the president now face 2 assassination attempts. My good friend, Charlie Kirk, publicly executed by this stuff. And I will always run into him. And I will always put that on my camera because it just shows how unhinged your side can be, whatever side you're on, but it typically happens to be on that other side. Because if you go to a March for Life rally, it's like the most peaceful rally out there. But yeah, don't call for the death of political opponents.
Awful. It's awful. And we also have to remember, Jeff, that these protests often are a microcosm of what the country looks like. There's going to be folks who are a little more informed on the issues than others, right? And let's be fair, too. Like, you see like CNN or some of these other liberal sites will go into Trump rallies and interview Trump supporters, and they sound like idiots. Those people, are they representative of all Trump voters? Are the people who you talk to who says, I'm just here for a good time, representative of the people who are protesting actual issues? I don't think so. I think it's fun to do that and to go in and talk to people, and it drives clicks and
makes good content.
It makes great content. But we have to be careful not to paint everyone with a broad brush, no matter which side you're on. Yeah.
So no kings this weekend, all over the place. It'll be on Saturday. They'll be out there protesting and getting worked up and all that stuff. I don't know how much they have to protest at this point. What are they protesting that Donald Trump's doing, you think?
Is that a serious question? I mean, that cannot be a serious question.
Is it peace in the Middle East? Whoa, no, go back to war. Hand the hostages back. I don't know. What is it that they're protesting? We want the border back open. Please, open borders. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the manufacturing jobs that are coming back. We'd like those to be more globalized. Send them back to China. We'd rather have cheap stuff, but no one can work in this country. What are they protesting? Tell me, what do you think someone's going to show up to protest Saturday?
Jeff, you're hilarious, man. First of all, I will not be protesting Saturday. Let me be clear about that. Look, I mean, there's a lot of people who are angry right now, and I think...
At what? What are they angry about that Trump's doing, you think?
You've got to be kidding me, right? Like
I'm asking an honest question. It seems like things are going great from my perspective.
Well, when federal troops are going into cities, when our immigrant neighbors are being rounded up and terrorized, right? Not even immigrants being detained, where there's many cases of actual citizens being detained by ICE agents.
For like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Is that still fair? Would you like to be detained by an ICE agent for 5 minutes? I don't think so.
It's not a major civil rights violation, Vic. Come on.
But you're a white dude from Cherry Creek. Of course you're going to say that. And of course they're not even going to target you. So let's be honest here. Now, I don't know how effective these protests are. I mean, first of all, you're not going to change anyone's mind in the Trump administration. In fact, that'll just cause them to double down on whatever it is they're doing. But again, it just goes back to the larger point of protests happen all the time. Listen, but you cannot deny that people are really upset. The discourse in American politics today is pretty awful. You brought up the Charlie Kirk stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, the fact that today's discourse is leading to actual people being targeted because of their political beliefs, like what happened to the Minnesota lawmakers, the Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. That has got to stop. And it's like at some point we have to wake up and say, what have we done? What have we done to get to a point where we can't even talk about that? You and I are having a conversation where we disagree a lot, but we're going to walk out of here shaking hands and glad that we did it, right? We have lost sight of those conversations. We have lost sight of human connection. Instead, it's, let's lock everyone up. Let's do this. Let's lock them up for their beliefs. Let's cancel them for their beliefs. It's gone too far. Let's kill people for their beliefs. I mean, what are we doing here? And it's so sad. And it's not the way I choose to live, Jeff. Like I have many friends who are liberal. I have friends who are conservative. I love them all dearly. It's like, I don't understand what's so hard about being able to see people for the good and to choose to rally around the things that you can agree on and the things that draw you in human spirit to that person, that connection, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on or who they vote for. It just pisses me off, these conversations that we have that lead to such extreme measures.
Well, what's happened, we'll get to Blake here in a second. So there's a great book written by an Israeli political philosopher named Yoram Hazony, who's trying to figure out what happened to the traditional progressive when you went from Berkeley free speech to I want to cancel you for what you say, right? Like if you went to Berkeley free speech back in the 60s, it was I may not agree with you, but I will fight to the death for your right to say what you might believe, that type of thing. 2, you said something that offends me, I'm going to make sure the rest of your life is ruined. How did that change happen?
Oh, it's awful.
What do you think happened?
I mean,
I have my theories, but what do you think?
I want to hear your theories, but
Okay.
I just want to touch on how big of a deal that is.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you brought up this whole cancel culture, because now it's a playbook that both sides are using. We see that the left was using the cancel culture to canceling people out of existence, especially after the George Floyd incident, right? And then nowadays, with anyone who says anything slightly negative about Charlie Kirk, right? They're getting canceled.
I think it's slightly.
Well, see, there you go.
But
This is why we can't have these conversations, because not both sides are like, yeah, but I'm not so bad, right? I think that's the problem. Is like, it is not right to cancel someone for their opinions and their beliefs. Period.
Ever? You think ever? Like you think if I would if someone was like openly racist or homophobic in one of your workplaces and was terrible to you, said terrible things as you walk down the hall. Don't you think
those
that
are extreme cases? In which case, of course, there should be people calling them out.
Right.
What I'm talking about are you're seeing, especially with the Charlie Kirk thing, people were canceled just because they went back and talked about some of the things that he talked about, and they didn't like that they were criticizing his beliefs, right? Well, it's you should never make light of someone who was killed.
Right.
You should never make light of an assassination. But I think people were so sensitive, right, to not wanting to appear to be taking issue with someone, that people were kind of going overboard, and the exact same thing happened on the left, right? Like, it's exhausting when you have to walk on eggshells around people, and you have to feel like you have to be scripted in your conversations, and you can't say anything remotely interesting out of fear that they're going to reject you, or society is going to post one of your old tweets from 2009, right? Like, as if it matters now.
Oh, I love that stuff. I love having to defend my old tweets. I think that's hilarious.
Well,
but I mean,
look back at
I guess I just see maybe somebody was canceled for disagreeing with Charlie. What I saw were people that were canceled because they were celebrating the assassination of somebody, and people just going, I don't want that in my workplace. I don't want that with my kids' teachers. Like that's like a character flaw as opposed to like a disagreement. And if people were out there, God forbid, celebrating the death of the Minnesota lawmakers, for instance, that's different. But anyways, we are so into the news and comment. You and I are just like kicked it off. I love it. Look at that. We got phone lines filling up as well. So much fun. Vic Vela, award-winning journalist. You heard him on Colorado Public Radio for a decade. He's live in studio co-hosting with me. Now it's time for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Thursday morning, 52 and sunny, beautiful, expecting a high of 70 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
Last night, though, Senate Democrats once again blocked a short-term spending bill and government funding, that government funding bill for the 9th time. They will actually try to do this again for the 10th time today.
It's day 16 of the Schumer shutdown. The U.S. service members got paid during the shutdown this week, but air traffic controllers are clocking in without collecting a check. There will still be Social Security payments, and mail is still being delivered. The Senate rejected a Republican-backed measure that would end the impasse. Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
Reasonable Democrats are going to have to come to the conclusion that this doesn't benefit anybody. I don't believe government shutdowns benefit anybody, and that used to be a position that was held by the Democrat leadership.
And Rohan Naval, a student, he's my hero this morning. Here's his question on CNN last night to Bernie Sanders.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health?
I got to pause this for a sec. He's asking the student a question, and the student is about to make Bernie look dumber than anyone because the student, Rohan, is so smart.
Care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
I think...
Great job. Awesome. A Springs police dog is fighting for his life after being stabbed multiple times while helping officers take a barricaded suspect into custody. Police say K9 Rome and his handler entered a home Wednesday morning during a domestic violence call when the suspect attacked the dog.
They aren't just a partner, they're buddies. They truly become buddies. I had a canine. They're with you so much, so often, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They become part of his family, and they're part of the CSPD family.
Chief Adrian Vasquez, officers used a taser and chemical spray to subdue the man before arresting him. Rome is 18 months old and had not yet received his stab-proof vest. He was rushed to an emergency vet and remains in critical condition. DJT says he has authorized the CIA to take action in Venezuela. Trump confirmed the news on Wednesday and was asked by reporters if the CIA had been given the green light to take out Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. He refused to answer. DJT says he plans to send federal troops into more U.S. cities. He says thousands of violent criminals have been arrested in his recent deployments. He has also said his administration will be going into other cities to combat crime, and San Francisco is on his list. Hamas says it has returned all the dead hostages that it can to Israel. The ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas called on them to turn over 28 deceased hostages within 72 hours, but they have returned only 9 bodies so far. Hamas says it would take significant efforts to recover the remaining bodies from the destruction in Gaza. Stay tuned. Bank of America is being sued for allegedly knowingly providing financial services that enabled Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. The plaintiff is a woman who said she was abused by the late sex criminal and was told to open a Bank of America account in which money was regularly deposited. All right, we have football tonight. Have that Tuesday, Wednesday break, and then back at it tonight. Bengals play host to the Steelers, and baseball last night, ALCS. 13-4 Blue Jays over the Mariners in Game 3. 50 in Aurora, 49 in Lafayette, and 51 in Denver. Jeff and Vic Vela continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It'll be a bit cooler as we roll through the next few days, as temperatures here in Denver will stay comfortable, but staying in the 60s. Sunny to partly sunny, clear tonight, lows upper 30s, mid-60s Friday, upper 30s Friday night, low to mid-60s, a little bit brisk and breezy on Saturday. Sunday will bring rebounding temperatures back to the 70s. Another cold front will move in Monday and Tuesday, cooling us off, and late Monday into Monday night, a chance of showers. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Live in studio with me is Vic Vela. We're talking no Kings this weekend. Phil Weiser saying, hey, get out there, everybody. It's your patriotic duty to go protest Donald Trump. I don't know what they're protesting at this point. I mean, you mentioned troops. I love the troops out in the cities. It's so safe. Just have them stand around. I've called for Mike Johnston. Take Trump up on it. It's free police. You don't see any massive civil rights violations. Why not have them stand around ICE doing the job of getting the mass deportations taken care of? So I don't know. Where am I wrong? What are we protesting this weekend? Donald Trump should have a third term. All right, let's go to Joel in Littleton. Good morning, Joel. You're on with Jeff and Vic.
Good morning. My question is, the Democrats are statement is Democrats are calling Donald Trump out for being a king, but they're the ones that were the kings with Campbell Harris and saying that this is your candidate, this is who you have to vote for, you have no choice in it. And they're doing the same thing they're trying to accuse Donald Trump of.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point. I think that the Democrats knew they were going to lose because you saw no effort by Gavin Newsom or Shapiro out of Pennsylvania or anybody else to try to take that nomination. Yeah, they anointed Kamala Harris, but I think they did so as a sacrificial lamb. I don't think there's any chance she was ever going to win that. Vic, do you think there was ever really a moment, maybe right after the convention, but
well, it's. I mean, my answer is complicated and nuanced. First of all, there has been reporting that Shapiro really wanted to be VP, and that he really lobbied hard and wanted that. And I think Kamala in her book basically said he wanted it a little too much, and so she went with the other guy.
And she said, too, she wasn't sure how they would be able to work together.
Yeah, something like that.
She thought that he wouldn't really take orders and, that type of thing. Whereas Tim Walz, you could push him over with a stiff breeze.
Poor Tim. Tim's a great guy. I mean, I like Tim Walz. Like, when he came out as the football coach and all his players at the convention, I'm like, right on, that dude is cool. But it turned out to not be a winning ticket, as we all know. Look, man, everyone loves to be an armchair quarterback over what Democrats did wrong. And I don't know if anyone's right, and I don't know if anyone's wrong in their opinions, right? Should Joe Biden have stepped aside earlier? Reasonable argument. But when he did, everyone praised him and called him one of the greatest presidents ever. And thank you for your courage. And now you're just kicking the guy while he's old and down, right?
Only 107 days. I mean, that's the title of her book. She only had 107 days.
And I think if you're gonna, why don't you just write an op-ed saying, we lost the election. Let's pick ourselves up by our dust the cobwebs off, pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, and go out and win the next one. Instead, it was this tell-all in which she was completely disloyal to a president who elevated her.
100%.
I just
and
thought
her
that
husband.
was.
Good night.
I thought it was a cheap shot. Can we stop blaming Biden for everything? My God. I mean,
no, it's the auto pen, man. He wasn't even running the presidency.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, there is no doubt that his cognitive abilities went downhill really fast in that term. Like, Jeff, if you go back and watch the primary debates in 2020 and compare that to how he was just 2 years later, the fall off is dramatic, because Joe Biden used to be a pretty sharp guy, a pretty, with fast wit, the old Irish little isms, right? But he was just a shell of himself during his presidency. So people who say that he should have just resigned earlier, I absolutely get that. At the same time, all these people, the Shapiros, the Kamala Harrises, the Gavin Newsoms, you had your chance. Why didn't you run? You could have just run in a primary against him. And so all this second guessing and armchair quarterbacking, Democrats just need to look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, why are we so unpopular right now? And I haven't seen anyone do that.
Yeah. Joel, response?
Well, because they were the ones playing king. The Democrat Party was playing the king and saying, this is your choice. Either vote for her or not. You have no say in who you're going to run. Don't blame it on the others for not running. They told them not to run because Kamala Harris is the only one that could bring that $250 million into the coffers if Joe Biden wasn't going to run.
To Joel's point, do you think the Democrats are being hypocritical by putting together a no kings rally?
I don't know if I'd call it hypocritical. I think I think there were a lot of issues that Democrats were not on the right side of politically in this election. Be it Joe Biden, be it Gavin Newsom, be it Kamala Harris. No matter who the messenger is, you're still carrying the torch of what the party believes. And it was very clear through those election results that voters overwhelmingly rejected what that party believes right now. And so I think we're asking the wrong questions. Everyone keeps wanting to go back and what happened and who's to blame. Those are the wrong questions. The right question is, why are we so unpopular? Go out and talk to the voters themselves and ask them, stand up in front of a town hall full of Democrats, Republicans, and independents and say, guys, what is the party doing wrong? They're going to get an earful, right? And that's something that's good for both parties. The Republicans may be in charge now, but as you know, that's fleeting. That's fleeting. And it's only a matter of time before people reject Republicans. These things go back and forth, right?
Who do you think steps up as the Democrat?
Oh, gosh, it's too early to tell. I mean,
you think so?
Any names I'm rattling off are just the ones who, Buttigieg is such a smart guy, Gavin Newsom, of course. There's, Raphael Warnock is really popular, although I don't think they want to get rid of that Senate seat in Georgia, right? Democrats have talent. The question is, what are you going to do about the issues that people care about, and how are you going to talk about those issues, right? Who's going to be the best?
What would be the top issue right now?
The economy, healthcare, and jobs. Like, what are you going to do to make the lives of everyday Americans easier at the dinner table, right? I mean, because that is the number one question facing every Americans when they're sitting around having dinner and they're talking about how is school today? Well, the education system sucks, right? How, honey, how was work today? Well, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, right? Or they're taking too many taxes out of my paycheck, right? Like, these are what are both parties doing to talk about those direct issues instead of noise, instead of stupid noise that I was a member of the news media for many years, and we did it. There's good things the news media has done, and there's so many things that we've done wrong, and we are to blame for a lot in today's conversations, right? But Democrats need to start having these hard conversations around their own platform and around their own delivery. And they need to do that, and they could start by talking directly to working class families and talking directly to workers. What do you want to see from our party?
Yes, and I think that's why you see Mondami's doing well in New York. Like I mentioned, I watched this video on Fox, willing to go on Fox. Questions were okay. I think she could have pinned him down.
That's good he went on Fox, yeah.
Yeah, I think Martha McCallum, I think, was doing the interviews. And I think she could have pinned him down a little bit more on some other stuff. So those guys will absolutely talk a game about the challenges of the working class and all that stuff. Their solutions are to penalize the producers, go after the job creators, the business owners, the guys who have made, in this case in Colorado, over $300,000 as joint filers. If that happens, you're going to be paying for everybody's free lunch and breakfast.
About the free lunch
MMM and LL, which is on the ballot, which I'm a hard no on both those. But it's compelling, and I sit there and I go, yeah, people will believe it. People will believe these guys can make it happen. But when, like in Mondami's case, they move out of New York because they don't want to pay over 50% of their income to taxes, then you're not going to have any money to be able to run the little projects you want to run. So, well, Joel, I appreciate the call. Joel from Littleton, his line is open, 303-696-1971. Tony, we'll get to you in a minute. Let's talk Black Eyed Pea. Love this restaurant, locally owned and operated by Stephen Michelle. With 8 locations, there's sure to be one near you. This week, make it a point to take your family out to eat at the Black Eyed Pea restaurant. Here's what I love about Black Eyed Pea. It's one of those great restaurants that all 3 generations love. You got the grandparents, you got my generation, you got the kids. They all will find something there. Stuffed spuds are featured this month on their fall menu. Who doesn't love a good baked potato? Check out their sweet pork spud, a sweet potato topped with pulled pork, drizzled with barbecue sauce, cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese and green onions. They have a chopped steak spud, a south of the border spud, a cheeseburger spud, a pot roast stuffed spud, and more. See their menu at blackeyedpeacolorado.com. Your dinner party, rehearsal dinner, wedding reception, or company event will be a success with Black Eyed Pea Catering. And Black Eyed Pea gift cards are always perfect for your spouse, birthday favors, or holiday presents. Or as a thank you to someone special, give them a gift card. I love this restaurant. I know you will too. Keep it in Colorado. Visit a Black Eyed Pea near you. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show with Vic Vela, filling in for Bill. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, October 22nd, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 9565 South University Boulevard in Highlands Ranch. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast. Pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, October 22nd at IHOP.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill's out this week. He'll be back Monday. So if you missed your daily dose of Bill Thorpe, you'll get it back Monday. Sitting live in studio with me is Vic Vela, 5-time Edward R. Murrow Award winner. Couldn't say that 5 times, but he's a 5-time winner of it. And 10 years with Colorado Public Radio, covered what was down at the state capitol. It's a real honor to have you live in studio. Having a great discussion. No Kings happening this weekend. And I just wonder what they're protesting. I mean, things seem pretty great. Maybe less peace in the world? Is that what the Democrats want? More wars? Maybe. All right, let's go to Tony in Littleton. Tony, good morning. You're on with Jeff and Vic.
Hey, good morning. I'd want to talk about 2 issues if there's time. First, the Kings issue. What would be motivating people to protest this King idea? And then if there's time to also talk then what should the Democratic response be to the, given they're so unpopular, that Vic, you raised.
Okay, so go ahead. What are we protesting?
Let's start with
this
the
weekend?
Kings. Let's start with the Kings. Something that we should all be able to agree on that is wrong, and we would have always agreed on these issues until Trump. We would never ever allow a president to financially benefit because of his position as president. And Donald Trump, his estimated wealth right now has increased by 3 or 4 times since he's been in office this term.
Why does that bother you so much?
It's because he's making he's making money because he's president. He's taking money from all over the world and gifts, and the Republican Party chased after Biden the whole time thinking that he got $50 million or something.
Gifts
and
what
he never
gifts
did.
has he gotten? You're talking the plane? The Cutter plane?
The plane is one. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one. And we're going to pay, and the taxpayers are paying $1 billion to retrofit that thing so it can become his personal plane when that's over. So that's one.
I don't know if it's
But
his personal plane when it's
that's
gone.
actually a small one. That's
I
a
think
small one.
part of it is that Boeing is so backed up in trying to deliver the new Air Force One.
That's it. It's let me finish. I mean, that's a small one. The big one is what he's taken in his crypto business, and it's known. It's a fact because he allowed the UAE to get our chips from NVIDIA. They deposited $2 billion into his
Are you saying
crypto
Donald
business.
Trump's being bribed?
I just making deals. For him, this is just making deals. And you and I would have agreed 2 years ago, 4 years ago, that's wrong. That's not a good thing. We would have agreed upon that. But
Tony,
today,
I mean, Brittany Pedersen's husband, Ian Silveri, is pulling in a lot of money from the county, from Jefferson County. Brittany Pedersen's husband, Ian Silveri, is pulling in $300,000. I'm just saying, I don't hear any
Tony,
complaints.
Let me help out Tony a minute. The New Yorker did reporting on this, and let me just read directly from an article. Many payments now flowing to Trump, his wife, and his children, and their spouses would be unimaginable without his presidencies. A $2 billion investment from a fund controlled by the Saudi Crown Prince, a luxury jet that we talked about, profits from at least 5 different ventures peddling crypto, fees from an exclusive club stocked with cabinet officials and named executive branch. It goes on and on and on. I think the larger issue that Tony's talking about is like there's ethical challenges around that, right? And you don't want presidents being compromised when they're making these kinds of decisions.
Yeah, but I think you have to demonstrate that there's bribes or favors or some form of policy that's
yes,
going
there were
into
favors.
it?
He gave NVIDIA chips
Bill Clinton finishes his presidency, and his first speech is $1 million speech, right? Hillary Clinton's taking book deals. Pretty much every Supreme Court justice has book deals. I'm just Jeff, all of a sudden Trump
that's after their president.
No,
that's
I'm telling you, right now Supreme Court justices are pulling in money from book deals.
You don't have to defend everything he does.
Well, no, it seems, Tony, you're raking the guy over the coals when you have Ian Silveri in our own community taking hundreds of thousands of dollars because his wife is an elected member of Congress. Tony, I'm trying to find where all of a sudden he's the one that we've got to address.
Jeff, no president has ever done this, and we would have chased every.
Tony, all right. Joe Biden did it.
Jeff, you're Jeff. Go. All right, then leave it. We'll leave that.
The Bushes are so poor after their presidency. Barack Obama so poor after his presidency. Go ahead,
Jeff. You and I both would have opposed Obama doing this. Now
Obama did
I
it.
oppose. Now hold on. Let me finish the statement, for God's sakes. You and I both would have opposed Obama doing this. Now Trump is doing it, and only I am opposing it, not you. So which one of us has the Trump derangement syndrome, you or me? My values didn't change. Your values did. And let's take one more issue. Why is he not releasing the Epstein files? Does that not concern you morally, ethically? You wear your Christianity on your sleeve. Are you not concerned that he's not letting that? They're not even.
I'll tell you what I think's in the Epstein files.
Hey, let me finish this, and then you can challenge it. They're not even seating the congresswoman from Arizona because she represents the 218th vote in the House to call for the release of those files. And Johnston's not even seating her. He's keeping her. He won't seat her. And that's just wrong. I mean, isn't it clear they're doing everything they can at Trump's direction not to release those files? And don't you, as a Christian, have concerns about what that may imply?
All right, are you ready, Tony? You want to know why? Okay, so let me help you with the Epstein files. And let me help you with smart people that work in government, too. This is why there's never like a smoking gun that exists with the Kennedy files or MLK or Amelia Earhart or anything else. Okay, I think you should release the Epstein files. But I'll tell you what's probably in them. The same thing that Martin Luther King's family's having to deal with. So when they released the MLK files, do you remember that? If you read the New York Times, there were disclaimers that what were in the files were accusations that were never proven, and the whole family had to go through this whole thing. That what you're going to read about MLK is a lot of accusations because people say stuff to the FBI, they chase it down, but it's going to be in those files. I imagine that there's stuff in there about powerful people that is not substantiated. And they just don't want the headache to deal with it.
And he's protecting other powerful people, not Trump. That's what you believe then. That's your position.
No, because, Tony, they're unsubstantiated. Tony, if I ran out there to the New York Times, hold on. If I ran out there to the New York Times and just claimed stuff about you that was not true, would you want that? Of course not. Of course not. You wouldn't want it. Okay? So I think they're trying to avoid the chaos that's going to come from unsubstantiated claims of people that,
The congressional hearing a week ago when they had the Attorney General seated and she was asked directly, are you aware personally of the photographs that have been reported of Donald Trump in a very compromised position? And she would not
They don't
She
exist.
would not.
Tony,
she would
you're
not
telling
say.
me
She
you're
had every
telling me
chance to say
this
they
guy's
don't
run for
exist.
president 3 times, and Democrats have thrown everything at him they possibly could. Just sat on a bunch of pictures.
You are making excuses.
Just sat on a bunch of pictures, Tony. Come
you
on.
are making.
No, I'm using reason and
you
logic.
are making excuses.
Yeah.
This is something I would think you, from morally, you would say, let's just clear this up.
Well, I just told you they should release the files, but what I'm telling you is that there's going to be a bunch of unsubstantiated claims, and that's why I think they're avoiding it. And you're telling me that Democrats who peeled through every aspect of Donald Trump's life for the last 20 years found videos of him having conversations on Access Hollywood with Billy Bush, decided to sit on these pictures? Come on,
you can
Tony.
be a supporter. You can support Trump, but you don't have to defend.
Yeah, you're off into conspiracy land. All right, we've got to get to a break. Thanks, Tony. All right, guys, let's talk advanced hair restoration. If you're losing your hair because you're debating the Epstein files and desire to have it back, then advanced hair restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Paul's modern technology, and best of all, you get your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now, 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. Want to get to a break here just real quick, but Vic, you and I have been around political people, some political people at the highest levels. It has part to do with the Epstein files, but it has also to do with JFK, MLK, RFK, all this stuff, because I think it's important for people to understand this. If there's an incriminating document that has existed in any of those, it was destroyed a long time ago. Powerful people don't let things sit in files that could be headaches for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Tony's larger point though has some merit around. Look, Trump and financial transactions may turn out to be nothing. There may be nothing there, or there may be some things that violate a little law. I don't know yet. But even if you have just a technical legality where you have a government official, much less a president, that's, getting personal benefits from people who have every reason to want to influence their policy decisions, I will grant you when it comes to policy decisions and actual decisions that affect our lives, I call that a bribe. And Nora Bookbinder was talking about that on PBS recently, and I want to make sure I attribute her talking about that. But it's nothing gets people more riled up than the Epstein files. So I'm not shocked that your caller had a passionate opinion about that one. I'm just hoping that I'm not in it. Let's just hope that.
I think you're going to be just fine. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show. Vic Vela filling in. News Talk 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill's out this week. Vic Vela, award-winning journalist, live in studio with me, and the text messages are hot. 1415. Biden's made all that money from the big guy. Come on. What about China, Ukraine? Tony never called when the Obamas and the Bidens and the Clintons were raking it in. Jeff, you need to shut your mouth. That's 2983. Tony's correct. Tony texted in. Jeff, your whataboutism for Trump's grift in office is appalling. Biden sat on the Epstein list for 4 years. What's going on? These people are jokes. Epstein file frenzy is proof that the left learned nothing from the right's election fraud craze in 2020. That's kind of funny. Vic, you got something coming up, an event?
Yeah, my nonprofit, the Back from Broken Foundation, which, provides some hope for people who are struggling with addiction. We are hosting an event on Veterans Day in Longmont, my hometown of Longmont, where I will be doing a podcast taping, interviewing a few different veterans who are in recovery from addiction. And it's going to be really powerful, really special, and it's free. You can go to our website for more information, the BF, as in the Back from Broken Foundation.org. And we're really excited about it. If you live in Longmont or the Longmont area, come and support veterans in recovery. It's going to be
November
powerful.
11th, 7 p.m., bfbf.org?
The bfbf.org.
There you go. We'll be right back.